Welcome back. We'll get started with one of those bad boys right there. So have two pedals up here today. I would typically only do one pedal to show you one or the other, but I find drive pedals and distortion pedals pretty fascinating actually, and the reason why is they could be used separately or they could be used together, and they could also complement one another. If you think about an amplifier, the distortion on an amplifier, a lot of times it's dry, and you would use a drive pedal, an overdrive pedal, to front end the distortion on an amp. The same holds true for pedals. If you have a distortion, sometimes you throw a drive in front of it. It's really behaving like a front-ending the front of a distortion circuit, okay? Not only that, but if you look at a 3-channel amp, you have clean, you have crunch, and then you have lead. And I also see drive pedals and distortion pedals kind of like that crunch and the lead, channel 2 and 3. So I figured I would show you these two pedals together. One is the Comeplling Drive by Aural Dream, and the other one is the Bold Distortion, also by Aural Dream. And I do want to thank Aural Dream for sending these pedals over, giving me an opportunity to demonstrate them for you, okay? So with that said, I'm using the gorgeous Acacia guitar into the tried and true PV Classic, which is really a phenomenal bass tone, a good, reliable tone that is familiar to all of us. And let's hear what these two pedals have to offer, okay? I'm going to start with the Comeplling Drive because I feel compelled to start with the Comeplling Drive. Let's listen to the tones. Then we'll go to the distortion, and maybe we'll fool around a little bit and see how they sound together. That's the goal of this video. So let's take it away. So I have to tell you, there's a lot of gain on tap. I think when I rolled the drive way down, that's really kind of your overdrive setting, especially that I'm over a clean channel, which is nice to see that the drive is pretty dynamic in terms of if you roll it all the way down, it just sometimes pedals, if you roll it all the way down, it gets sterile. This actually sounds like an overdrive should sound. Interestingly enough, when you turn the drive all the way up, it just sounds big, rich, and meaty, almost like a distortion pedal. So with that said, and then you also saw the low and the high. The high is pretty bold. The low is less bold, but I seem to have favored the low setting on that. So what I'm going to do now is I turn that off. Let's check out the bold distortion. Something also worth noting, you have this toggle switch at the top, and SI and then LED SI basically stands for silicone light emitting diode, and then the SI is a silicone diode. And interestingly enough, even in a lot of amps, silicone clipping is a pretty common thing. So that's what's happening over here, and you have two settings. So let's hear the bowl distortion. Let's check it out. That sounds very much like amp distortion to me. Real big, rich, creamy. I'm gonna go on a limb here and say it sounds very boogie-like. When you think about Mesa Boogie style distortion, it's very rich, creamy, and saturated. And that's kind of what I'm hearing right over here. So it's interesting. I think both pedals have their place, and I am curious to know which one do you like best, and why. Leave your comments in the description below. Now let's have a little bit of fun and see how they could work together to get that clean, crunch, lead style sound. So let's play around a little bit and see what we could come up with. When you listen, especially with the palm muting, that's where I think the power of two of these type of pedals come together. So listen to the palm muting. So there are two brand new pedals by Aural Dream. One is the Comeplling Drive. The other one is the Bold Distortion. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm curious to know what your thoughts are. So leave them below. And again, thank you to Aural Dream for sending these bad boys over to give me an opportunity to check them out. So thank you. Rock on. We'll see you all later.